All right, let's dive deep into a system that's absolutely vital, fascinating, and yeah, maybe a little bit gross too. We're talking about your digestive system.
It's happening inside you right now,
Oh, that's a good point.
without you even having to think about it.
It's mind-blowing when you really think about it.
Yeah.
So whether you're like studying biology or just curious about your own body or just fascinated by intricate processes in general, this deep dive is for you.
Absolutely.
We are going to unpack some really interesting insights from a university-level biology. I lecture all about the digestive system.
Yeah, this is a good one.
It's really fascinating. Trust me, you're going to learn some things that will completely change how you think about eating.
Yeah.
So let's just start with the basics.
Okay.
This lecture defines the digestive system in a few ways. Breaking down food, absorbing nutrients, a network of organs working together.
It does all of that and more.
But here's a fact that really puts things into perspective. The adult GI tract, like the path that food takes through your body, is about 30 feet long.
Yeah, that's longer than a car.
It's longer than a car.
It really is. Like, wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, incredible feat of engineering.
So it's not just one long tube, right?
Right.
We have to distinguish between the GI tract itself, also called the alimentary canal, and then all of these accessory organs that help it out.
Yeah, think of it like the GI tract's the main highway, and then these accessory organs are like rest stops and service stations.
I like that analogy.
They're helping along the way.
Okay, so the GI tract is all those hollow organs
Yes.
connected, right?
Yes, continuous pathway.
From your mouth all the way to the other end.
All the way down.
Mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, the whole shebang.
The whole 30-foot shebang.
Exactly, 30 feet. And then those accessory organs, they're solid, right? Food doesn't actually travel through them.
No, they're solid.
Yeah.
Think liver, gallbladder, pancreas, crucial for digestion, but working behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Providing those essential chemicals and enzymes to break it all down without actually coming into contact with the food itself.
So they're like, what's a good analogy for this? They're like
They're like the chefs.
the chefs in the kitchen.
Exactly. They're preparing everything.
And then they send it out to the restaurant.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so why should we care about all of this?
You know, I think sometimes we take for granted how amazing our body is.
We do. We just eat, and then our body does its thing.
Yeah.
But understanding this process can really change how you think about food and how your body actually uses it.
Yeah, and like what you're choosing to put into your body and like what you want to get out of it.
Exactly.
Like you eat to fuel your body, but your cells can't use a burger or a salad like in their original forms.
Right. It needs to be like broken down somehow.
It does. Digestion is like taking apart a complex Lego structure,
Oh,
breaking it down into the individual bricks, and then you can build something new.
I like that.
And those bricks, in this case, are the nutrients your body needs. So we're talking amino acids from proteins, fatty acids, and glycerol from fats, and simple sugars from carbohydrates.
So digestion is essentially turning our food into usable building blocks.
Precisely.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So now that we got the basics down, I'm ready for a
I
journey.
want to go on a journey. I want to follow that bite of food as it travels through this 30-foot digestive system.
Okay. Let's start at the very beginning,
Let's do it.
shall we?
Yes. The mouth.
More than just a place to shove food.
Indeed.
I mean, chewing is obviously important,
It is.
but it's also the first site of actual chemical digestion, right?
It is.
And your tongue plays a key role in that, in forming that chewed food into a bolus.
A nice little package ready to be swallowed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I remember reading that saliva is important for more than just swallowing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Saliva is a lot more impressive than we give it credit for. Saliva is not just some passive liquid. It actually contains enzymes like amylase, which starts breaking down starches right there in your mouth.
Wait, so digestion's already happening before I even swallow?
That's right. It is. And it also contains buffers to neutralize acids, protecting your tooth enamel from erosion.
Nope.
And here's something that might surprise you. Saliva even has antibacterial properties.
Really?
Thanks to enzymes like lysozyme. It's your first line of defense against some of those microbes that might be hitching a ride on your food.
Wow, saliva is way more impressive than I gave it credit for.
Multitasking marvel.
So saliva's doing all of that. Then, of course, we swallow it, and it goes down the esophagus, which I know it's basically just a muscular tube, but what's actually happening there?
Well, the esophagus might seem simple, but it's actually a marvel of muscular coordination.
Oh, okay.
It uses this process called peristalsis,
Okay.
which is a series of wave-like muscle contractions to propel food downwards.
So it's not just gravity.
Gravity helps, but peristalsis is the driving force. Think of it like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. You know, those coordinated contractions just pushing that bolus along.
Okay, so just like a good tube of toothpaste, though, it has a cap so the toothpaste doesn't come out the wrong end.
Exactly.
So the esophagus has those sphincter muscles at both ends to prevent backflow.
Right. They're like one-way valves, making sure that food's moving in the right direction.
So those must be what keep me from getting heartburn
helping.
all the time.
Yeah.
All right. And then the wall of the digestive tube, it has this really interesting structure, right? From the esophagus all the way down. It has these 4 distinct layers, like the serosa, muscularis, submucosa, and mucosa. What's so special about all those layers?
Well, each layer has a specific function.
Okay.
The outermost layer, the serosa, provides protection and lubrication.
Okay.
The muscularis, as you might guess, is responsible for those peristaltic contractions.
Right, the muscles make it.
The submucosa, that contains the blood vessels and nerves that are supporting the digestive process.
Okay.
And then finally, the mucosa, the innermost layer, that's where the real action's happening. Secretion of enzymes, absorption of nutrients.
So it's like a perfectly engineered system
It is.
with each layer playing a crucial role.
It is. Team effort.
Team effort, okay.
Absolutely.
So what's next?
So that well-traveled bolus is now headed to its next destination. The stomach.
Hold on, before we get to the stomach, can we rewind just for a sec?
Sure.
You mentioned the ileum, which is the longest part of the small intestine, and that's where most of the absorption happens. But the lecture also talked about how the walls actually start to thin out there and the blood supply decreases and food spends the most time in that section. Isn't that kind of counterintuitive?
Yeah, it does seem counterintuitive at first.
It does.
But it's actually a really, really brilliant example of efficiency in nature. So by the time food reaches the ileum, most of the nutrients have already been absorbed. So the body has cleverly evolved to reduce resources in that area, less blood supply, thinner walls, and the slower movement of food through the ileum actually allows for maximum absorption of those remaining nutrients.
That is so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like the body's saying, we've gotten most of what we need. Let's conserve energy here.
Exactly.
Amazing.
It really is like a testament to the efficiency of the digestive system.
Okay, now I'm ready for the stomach.
Yeah.
Bring on the gastric juices.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to our journey through the digestive system.
We left off with our bolus of food about to enter the stomach.
Oh yeah, it's in for a wild ride.
Ready for like a bath of acid and enzymes?
Pretty much.
So what makes the stomach so special?
Well, first of all, it's not just a static holding tank.
Okay.
It's not just like hanging out there.
I was picturing something like a balloon
Right.
that just expands to hold the food.
Yeah, it does expand and contract, but it's a lot more dynamic than a balloon.
Okay.
It's more like a washing machine, you know?
Oh.
Churning, mixing that food with gastric juices, really breaking things down.
Gastric juices, that sounds intense.
It is. Gastric juice is a mixture of enzymes and mucus, and it's incredibly acidic,
Yeah.
thanks to hydrochloric acid.
The lecture mentioned that this acid is strong enough to dissolve metal.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
How does our stomach not digest itself?
Well, the stomach lining is actually protected by a thick layer of mucus
Okay.
that prevents that acid from eating through the tissue.
So it's like a built-in shield.
Exactly. But it's not just about dissolving. That acidic environment also activates a crucial enzyme called pepsin, which breaks down proteins.
Pepsin, I remember reading something about it starting out in an inactive form.
You're right.
Why is that?
The stomach cells actually produce pepsinogen, which is the inactive precursor to pepsin.
Why not just produce pepsin directly?
Well, it's a safety mechanism. Imagine if active pepsin was just hanging out in those stomach cells.
Right, that would be bad.
Yeah, it would start digesting the stomach lining.
Ouch.
So it's like a safety lock
Okay.
on a powerful weapon.
So the pepsinogen only turns into pepsin when it hits the stomach acid.
Yeah, when it's safely inside the stomach cavity.
Got it.
And then it can start breaking down those proteins without harming the stomach.
Clever.
It is.
Okay, so we've got this churning and the mixing and breaking down with the acid, and then what happens after that?
Well, by this point, that bite of food has been transformed into chyme.
Chyme.
It's a partially digested mixture
Yeah.
that's ready to move on to the small intestine.
Ah, the small intestine.
The star of the show.
Right. The longest part of the GI tract.
It is.
The site of most digestion and absorption.
And it's got this amazing, intricate structure that's designed to maximize that nutrient absorption.
The lecture mentioned these finger-like projections called villi.
Yeah, villi.
and even smaller ones called microvilli.
Microvilli.
What are those all about?
So imagine like a shag carpet
Oh,
lining the entire small intestine.
yeah.
That's essentially what the villi and microvilli do. They create just this enormous surface area for absorption.
So more surface area equals more space for nutrients to pass into the bloodstream.
Exactly. And it's not just about surface area. The walls of the small intestine are also incredibly thin, which allows for a rapid diffusion of nutrients.
So it's like this super efficient absorption machine.
It really is.
Amazing.
And the small intestine doesn't work alone. It gets help from those accessory organs we were talking about.
Okay.
Liver, gallbladder, pancreas.
Right, the chef's in the kitchen.
Exactly, providing those essential ingredients for the breakdown process.
Let's talk about those unsung heroes.
Okay, who do you want to start with?
Let's start with the liver.
The liver, okay.
It's the largest internal organ in the body.
It is. The liver is often called the chemical factory of the body.
Really?
And for good reason, it's performing hundreds of functions. Processing nutrients, detoxifying harmful substances, producing bile.
So it's not just about digestion.
Nope, serious multitasker.
Okay.
So when nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream from the small intestine, they travel to the liver first.
Like a customs checkpoint.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's checking those nutrients, converting them into usable forms, storing some for later use, and even detoxifying harmful substances that might have slipped in.
Wow, it's like the ultimate processing and distribution center.
It really is. And
Yeah.
then you've got bile production. Bile is essential for fat digestion.
Okay, bile, what's that all about?
So it acts like a detergent.
Okay.
It breaks down those large fat globules into smaller droplets.
Okay.
So it's easier for the enzymes to digest.
Like pre-treating a stain before you wash it.
Exactly.
So the liver makes the bile.
Yes.
And then it gets stored in the gallbladder until it's needed.
Exactly. Ready to go.
Speaking of the gallbladder, what does it do?
So think of the gallbladder as a little storage pouch for bile. So the liver's constantly producing it. The gallbladder concentrates it, makes it even more potent.
So it's like bile concentrate.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then when you eat a meal that contains fats, the gallbladder contracts and squirts that concentrated bile right into the small intestine.
Wow, so it's like on-demand bile delivery.
It is. Very efficient system.
Okay.
And remember, bile not only breaks down fats, but it also plays a role in eliminating waste products from the body.
Okay, and last but not least, the pancreas.
The pancreas.
Another unsung hero.
Oh, yeah. Another powerhouse of digestion.
What's its role?
So it produces pancreatic juice,
Okay.
which is packed with enzymes that break down all the major components of food. Proteins, fats, and carbohydrates.
It's like a digestive all-star team.
It really is.
What kind of enzymes are we talking about?
So you've got amylase for breaking down starches.
Okay.
Proteases like trypsin and chymotrypsin for proteins, and lipases for fats, just to name a few.
So it's like a one-stop shop for digestion.
It is.
What else does it do?
Oh, and here's another cool thing. Pancreatic juice also contains bicarbonate,
Okay.
which neutralizes that highly acidic chyme coming from the stomach.
Oh, right. So it has to, like, protect the small intestine from the stomach acid.
Yeah, it creates the right pH environment for those pancreatic enzymes to do their work.
Very clever.
It is.
But wait, the pancreas also produces insulin.
Right.
And that's for regulating blood sugar.
You got it. So the pancreas has this dual role. It's involved in digestion and blood sugar regulation.
Right.
Insulin is a hormone that allows cells to absorb glucose from the bloodstream, and it helps keep blood sugar levels in check.
So it's multi-talented.
Yeah, digestion, blood sugar regulation, it's a busy organ.
It's amazing how these, like, seemingly separate processes are all interconnected.
That's the beauty of the human body.
Yeah.
A complex network of systems working together in harmony.
Well, not always perfect harmony, but definitely a marvel of complexity.
It is. Now let's take a step back and look at how those major food components, those proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, are actually broken down into their building blocks.
Okay, so back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
Proteins are broken down into
Amino acids.
amino acids.
Think of proteins like long chains of beads. Each bead is an amino acid.
Okay, I like that.
Easy to visualize.
Carbohydrates are broken down into.
Simple sugars like glucose.
Okay.
And these are the primary energy source for our cells.
Okay, and fats break down into.
Fatty acids and glycerol. These are important for energy storage, insulation, and even hormone production.
So all of these smaller molecules, the amino acids, the simple sugars, fatty acids, glycerol, That's what our bodies can actually use.
Exactly. They're absorbed into the bloodstream, transported to cells throughout the body where they're used for energy, growth, repair, all sorts of vital functions.
So it's like deconstructing a building
Okay.
and then salvaging all the materials to build something new.
Love that analogy. And the lecture also talks about how different animals have digestive systems that are adapted to their specific food sources.
Right. Herbivores, carnivores,
That's-
omnivores, they all eat different things.
Yeah, so herbivores, they only eat plants, so they have these longer, more complex digestive systems
Oh, okay.
to break down that tough plant matter,
Okay.
while carnivores, who only eat meat, they have shorter, simpler digestive tracts.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And humans, as omnivores, we're somewhere in between.
Right in the middle. Our systems are capable of handling both plant and animal matter, so it makes us incredibly adaptable.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
It is. It highlights the importance of understanding our own digestive system.
Yeah.
So we can make choices that support it,
Exactly.
help it function optimally.
Speaking of supporting our digestive systems, I think it's time to move on to the final stage of our journey, the large intestine.
All right, ready to explore the world of water absorption and waste elimination.
Let's do it. I'm all about seeing this process through to the very end. We're back for the final part of our digestive system journey.
The last stop on this incredible tour.
We follow that food all the way through the stomach, the small intestine, and now it's the large intestine's turn.
Often overlooked, but equally important.
What's the large intestine's main function?
So, the large intestine, also known as the colon, has a couple of key jobs. Mainly, it's in charge of absorbing water and electrolytes
Okay.
from that remaining indigestible food matter.
So it's like a recycling center,
Yeah,
making sure we don't waste precious fluid.
exactly. And as that water is absorbed, the waste products become more concentrated, and that forms what we know as feces.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I also remember reading that the large intestine is home to this huge community of bacteria.
Oh, yeah, trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes
Really?
living in there, forming what we call the gut microbiome.
What are those microbes doing?
They play such a crucial role in our health. They help break down certain types of fiber that our bodies can't digest on their own.
Oh, okay.
And they produce these important vitamins like vitamin K and some B vitamins.
So it's like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it is.
We give them a home,
Uh-huh.
and they help us out.
We provide the room and board, and they pay the rent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after the large intestine has done all that, what happens next?
Well, those waste products, now in their final form, move into the rectum, which is a storage chamber.
Okay, so like a holding tank before elimination.
Exactly. And when the time is right,
Yes.
those waste products are expelled through the anus,
The grand finale.
the grand finale of the digestive journey.
It really is amazing. I'm like looking at food totally differently now.
Yeah.
Knowing all of this.
Yeah, knowing what's happening on the inside,
Yeah.
it gives you a whole new appreciation
It really does.
to that food
Yeah.
and what your body does with it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the digestive system,
Yeah.
what's like the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important takeaway is that your digestive system is an incredible machine,
It is.
but it's not invincible. And the choices you make, about what you eat, how you care for your gut health,
Yeah.
those can have a significant impact on how well it functions.
So it's not just about learning the facts. It's about actually applying them to our lives.
It is, yeah. Listen to your body, nourish it with those healthy foods, and don't take this incredible system for granted.
Well said. Well said. And on that note, we'll say goodbye for now. Happy digesting, everyone.
Yeah.